Welcome to Weekend Series Reaction with Stephen Willis and Chris Muller. Ole Miss came back from a big deficit in Game 3 to take the game 10-9 on a walk-off home run from a former redshirt, of all people. Got 3.1 solid innings from Doherty, and really propelled the ability for that to even happen was based off of that bullpen performance. But, and I say but, kind of meaning it. 23 innings, LSU was the better team pitching, hitting, and playing defense. Those last 5 innings, Ole Miss was able to win Game 3, but we do have trouble.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of great takeaways from this weekend, especially considering we won the game today, came back from a huge deficit. But obviously, there's some things that need to be addressed over the next several weeks to put us in really a position to host right now. I think that's the key right now is to try to get us into that regional hosting spot. I don't know that a super regional host is really in the works for us right now. But like I said, I think we've got, based upon the fact that we won the game today, we've got a lot of momentum coming into the next several weeks.
All right, and what positives will you take from this weekend? There's a few from early
Yeah,
on, and there's a lot at the end. But what are you looking at?
yeah. So this was bannered about on social media a little bit, and there were three really big positives. And actually, I said it before the home run by McCants that tied it up. But we didn't give up is the biggest takeaway that I'm going to take from this weekend. We're down 9-1. It's really easy to phone it in the last couple of innings, but we didn't do that. We left a ton of runners on base this weekend, including today. I think we left the bases loaded in the sixth inning with nobody out, didn't get a single run home. Can you still hear me, Steve? Looks like our
Yeah,
video for
yeah, it
okay.
froze up for just a second, but I got you.
Yeah. So it's really frustrating when stuff like that happens. But this team has a ton of heart, and we saw that again today. We saw that with Arkansas, but the result didn't bear it out when we tied it at 14. But today we came back and we won the game. It's one game in this year in a 30-game season, but SEC season. But that one game matters, and it matters a ton when you're talking about the right to host a regional that's going to come out in 2 weeks. So like I said, we've got work to do. But going into exam week, where the players are going to get a few weeks off, that's one huge positive that I'm going to take away. Derek Diamond on Thursday night came through with an emergency start. He only allowed one earned run through 6 innings. So hopefully that was a huge confidence booster for Diamond. What were you going to say, Steve?
Yeah, I was just going to point out like another positive being the fact that we actually kind of stopped the bleeding with the bullpen and was able to proceed to the end. That can't be understated how big of a deal that was, as low as the confidence for this team had gotten.
Yeah, the bullpen obviously. Broadway came in and shut LSU out in the ninth inning, which gave us the opportunity in the bottom of the ninth to win the game, which obviously we did with the walk-off homer by Kim Alderman. But another good bullpen outing that we had this week, and it was on Friday night, was Wes Burton. He was charged with a run on Friday night, but he went 2+ innings, and he actually didn't see the LSU batter across the plate. And so he left that runner on for Jackson Kimbrell, who had a little bit of a rough outing, gave up the grand slam, put things kind of out of reach for us on Friday night. But those were some high intensity innings for Wes, and so I was really proud to see Wes perform at that level.
And this weekend, especially on the comeback, like 8 of the 10 runs of the comeback was as a result of the long ball. Anything to draw from that?
I There were a ton of home runs this
Mm.
weekend. All of our home runs all of our runs on Thursday night came via the home run. I think our lone run, or maybe they scored a run in the ninth last night to make it, just kind of a meaningless run. But the other run that was scored last night early in the game was via the long ball. So I think our bats are coming to life. I think we had three today. The Chatinier home run obviously was huge to put us within striking distance and give TJ McCants the opportunity to hit the grand slam to tie things up. That was an intense shot right there. I didn't know whether it was gone. The LSU outfielder was tracking it really, really hard. went up, and I really didn't know it was gone until I saw the replay, saw the beer showers go in the air. That was a crazy hit.
Peyton Chatagnier is kind of becoming the catalyst for this team. He's always been important, but now with all those injuries, it seems to be even more important. His being down coincided with the LSU dominance early on. There were some defensive mistakes. He struggled at the plate and things like that. But that 3-run home run sparked the comeback, and I'm not going to say the comeback wouldn't have happened without that home run. That's obvious. But I think, hitting is contagious, and especially coming from him.
Yeah, Chatagnier is just the energy bunny on that team as far as from a starting perspective. John Rice Plumlee is also another energy bunny for us, but from an everyday in the lineup guy, it's Peyton Chatagnier. And if he's having a good day, we're going to have a good day. And if he's having a bad day, like you said, hitting's contagious, and we've got the possibility of not having a really good performance.
Well, okay, let's move off of this weekend series and start looking ahead a little bit. What are some things for South Carolina that you want to see?
The Gunner's got to get back, right? I mean, I think that's really important. It sounds like he threw some long toss today, some crow hops today from what Coach Bianco said in post game. So look for a Gunner to come back. And then obviously we don't have a midweek game this week. So the bullpen's going to be the guys are going to be rested and ready to go. So I'm excited to see South Carolina come to town. I'm excited to see if the momentum that we got today, we can build off of it and continue it. South Carolina is I'm going to say it's a must-win series, but for us to host, I do think it's an absolutely must-win series from the perspective of who in the RPI have we beaten in the series. And so it's going to be South Carolina, and we've got to take care of business next week.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss has lost 4 straight series for the first time since 2002. Was Bianco even here then?
He started in 2001, I believe.
Okay.
So interesting story about 2002, if that was his second year, which I believe it was. They actually got up to number 6 in the country, Mike. So this was a story from Tuesday's game. They got up to number 6 in the country, and then they kind of fell off the face of the earth in the latter part of the season. And they didn't even make the SEC tournament that year. It was one of the last years, I think, that they only took eight teams to the SEC tournament. And Mike tells the story that Coach Kessinger, even after he had left the athletic department, came by his office a couple weeks after the season, shook his hand, and said, "Hey, you're doing really great things here. You're a great coach, and just hang in there because things are going to turn around." And sometimes things like this just happen in baseball. And so maybe this is just another one of those things that just happens in baseball, and we're going to be able to right the ship.
Yes. Oh, and another thing that I've noticed, and I especially noticed this weekend, is the fan base. There's a lot of nervous energy in the fan base. When something goes wrong, it's almost like you're expecting the next thing to go wrong and the next thing to go wrong. And I'm beginning to wonder if that's not contagious with these boys on the baseball field. Going back to the Tennessee Tech series, there's just a nervous energy, and this decline in play coincides perfectly with the return of fans in baseball.
Yeah, our fan base is a really fickle beast. It just is. And with the access to internet message boards these days and Twitter and any other message board that you can think of, instant way to get your feelings out there, there are a lot of things that people will say out there that our players have access to. I mean, let's be honest. Players and parents and really anybody, it's all open access. And so when you put stuff like this out there, it does have a tendency to get back to the players, and the positive stuff gets back to them as well as the negative stuff. And so we as a fan base do need to be conscious of that and careful to an extent that these are things that our players are reading. These are things that recruits are reading. And how does that affect our ability to recruit? How does that get into the minds of our players? And not just our players, but our players' families as well.
Yeah, whenever there's a big storyline in the fan base about a problem in the bullpen, eventually a problem's really going to exacerbate itself because the players themselves are actually seeing that as well.
No doubt. There are a lot of parents in a particular group that I'm a part of. I'm really happy that they choose to interact with the fans, but I'm hopeful that the parents take it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. Confidence hit a low point. Hopefully, the last 5 innings of this game is the jolt they need going into South Carolina, and they can turn it around because 10-8 is a whole lot better than 9-9.
It's absolutely. I mean, I think we're 2 games above 500 in the league. We've got 12 games left to go. So let's just see where it goes from here. Even if we go 500 the rest of the way, we're at 16-14. Hope to get to 17-13, or maybe even 18-12. So I think all of our goals are still in reach. I put that out there on social media last week. All of our goals are still in reach. So we've got to bear down now. Having finals this early is going to help this team, because now instead of, they're there for an education, absolutely, but now instead of having classes and studies and everything else like that, we are 100% focused on baseball moving forward.
Yeah, and a couple of big tournaments, and of course getting into the field is the main goal, and getting to 40, which is still ahead of them, and they can still do it, but there's a little bit of work to be done now, because that 6 games at the beginning of the season has basically been erased. For Chris Muller, I'm Stephen Willis. This has been the weekend series reaction. Tune in next week. We're going to go over the South Carolina series, and I hope everybody has a good weekend and enjoy the Grove Ball, guys.